Welcome back to the show. Wisconsin's controversial voter ID law is dealt a big blow. The law that was passed in 2011 has been tied up in the courts ever since. On Tuesday, a federal judge in Milwaukee struck it down. Mike Lowe has the details. But first, we begin our broadcast with a debate over a reconstruction proposal from the Stevens Point Department of Public Works. Development plans have begun on a new construction project along Business 51 in Stevens Point. Reporter Jason Ryan has more. We reached out to the athletic department for a statement on why they took the route they did, but they were unable to get back to us, leaving some questions still unanswered. Controversy aside, one thing's for sure, things are looking a little more aggressive for the UWSP campus. Students, faculty, and other community members came down to the Praise Sims Hall basement April 3rd and 4th for a new program by the Social Justice Issues Committee called Tunnel of Oppression.
Yeah, tunnel of oppression is hard to describe sometimes to someone who hasn't been through it, but that's also part of the beauty of it. So when I try to tell people what to expect, it's an emotional, interactive experience that has different components.
The topics discussed covered a wide variety of social justice issues and were presented both passively and actively.
Some of the skits that we had were transgender issues, sexual assault. We had our alcohol and drug room. It was kind of like a party room. We also had body image. And then some of the more passive ones that we had kind of relayed back to them. We had homelessness, more of the domestic violence, kind of adding on to it.
The committee saw a turnout to the program that was much larger than they had expected, since it was the first year the tunnel was being brought to UWSP.
I was hoping, truthfully, my personal goal was 150 people, and we had about 300, so we doubled what I thought was going to happen. People loved it, and people knew that it was important, and then they wanted to help with it. And so I think it went phenomenal for the first year. There were definitely, bumps along the way, which is bound to happen for your first year.
The feedback that the program received was mostly positive, and some students were even moved to tears.
It was very eye-opening. I feel like everyone's aware of the issues, that happen in the world, but I don't think people are that aware of how often it happens or how close to home it may happen. I really enjoyed it. I think that it was good, especially for a small campus here where it's not a very diverse population.
I do hope we do it again in the future, just because it went so good for just the first time doing it, and we can only get better from now on.
This was the Social Justice Issues Committee's largest program put on, and they are all hoping to keep it an annual tradition. This is Ashley Homer for UWSP News Team.
The officers handcuffed everyone and moved them into the living room while the whole house was searched. They found one room with about 5 ounces of marijuana and another room with cookies that had weed in them. But with such a small find, the extremity of the officers' methods were questioned by those in the household.
For my best guess is 4 ounces of marijuana, to come in with a full riot gear, kick down everybody's doors, and deliver that much emotional damage to people, as well as physical damage to some, it seemed excessive. And I know for a fact, it's hurt people. There's people who just don't feel comfortable or safe living here anymore. There's people who've seen counseling because of it. It's a bad time.
The university responded very well to the incident by sending over Sean Wilson to ensure everyone was okay.
And I'm Ashley Homer. On tonight's broadcast, the city of Stevens Point looks to add to its communications with a new low-power radio station. Catch the golden snitch. Non-traditional sports are on the rise on campus. Do sports that use alternative equipment, such as a broom, have a chance to succeed? We reached out to the athletic department for a statement on why they took the route they did, but they were unable to get back to us, leaving some questions still unanswered. Controversy aside, one thing's for sure, things are looking a little more aggressive for the UWSP campus. After the break, we will have career specialist Lori Martin-Keefe in the studio to answer some questions about the Career Services Department. Be sure to stay with us to hear more after the break. But first, we go to Julia Flaherty for more on the developments of a new Portage County jail. Good evening. On our broadcast tonight, new details concerning the debate over the plans with the new science building on campus. Are residents and students' voices being heard? When we come back, we have an update on the Wisconsin voter ID legislation, and we'll find out how UWSP seniors prepare for life after graduation with the help of Career Services. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Wisconsin's controversial voter ID law is dealt a big blow. The law that was passed in 2011 has been tied up in the courts ever since. On Tuesday, a federal judge in Milwaukee struck it down. Mike Lowe has the details. Finally, a Cameroon native hosts a charity event in Stevens Point to raise awareness about an aspect of life that many of us take for granted: access to clean water. Welcome back. In 2012, UWSP underwent a logo change, trading in the beloved Stevie Pointer for a more aggressive-looking dog. The project was outsourced to a company in Pennsylvania with an estimated cost of $500,000. This decision has caused some on-campus to question why UWSP's graphic department wasn't utilized. But first, we begin our broadcast with a debate over a reconstruction proposal from the Stevens Point Department of Public Works. Development plans have begun on a new construction project along Business 51 in Stevens Point. Reporter Jason Ryan has more. The University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point is going to be making some changes to resident hall living next year. Reporter Lance Castor informs us of these changes right here on UWSP News Team. It has been rumored that the campus would like to shoot for the goal of 300 more students who will be attending UWSP next year.